You guys did it. I have to say, you've done it. At this point, you've done it. Like, there is nothing here to say except congratulations. We're going to keep saying congratulations all of next week, and especially on the last video that we do. But you've done it. You have literally gone through something that is, it is completely transformative on every level. Differently for each one of you. The intensity of the transformation might be different for each one of you, but transformational nonetheless. So if you haven't yet, like I told you last week, if you have not celebrated yourself, if you haven't congratulated yourself, if you haven't done something to acknowledge this incredible accomplishment that you have gone through, please take some time this weekend and do that for yourself, and get into the habit of celebrating yourself for small things and for little things, the same way that you would celebrate them for anybody else. We always celebrate other people. We celebrate our kids, we celebrate our spouses, we celebrate our family members, our friends, yay, for everything that they're going through. And they do the same for you. But are they doing that for themselves? And are you doing that for yourself? No, most of the time we aren't. So I want you to really do that. Today, we are rounding up and wrapping up the teaching portion of this program, talking about essential oils. Again, super easy, super short. Essential oils are truly the replacement when we're talking daily issues, right? For over-the-counter medicine. They are really the natural replacement for chemicals, toxic over-the-counter remedies that we use for, headaches, stomach aches, any kind of aches and pains, right? Some people, and I don't recommend this for anybody in this group, but for myself, because I'm a alternative health practitioner, and people who have been doing this for a long time will also use essential oils in place of antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, etc. But that's not where any of you are at right now. When you have an acute infection or something like that, go to your doctor and see what your doctor has to say. I'm just telling you to what extent essential oils can be used and are used. For our purposes only, what I've given you in the guide are a couple of basic blends that you can use specific to our hormonal situation, which is cravings, hot flashes, and energy. So essential oils, because they come from plants, they extract the oil, which is very potent, because they come from plants, in the same way that when you consume fruits and vegetables and you get those pure live nutrients and enzymes and vitamins and minerals that go straight into your cells, the same thing with essential oils, because they come straight from plants and our bodies recognize that. So even more potent than some medications can't penetrate straight into your cells because a lot of times because it's a toxin, your body doesn't really want that toxicity. But with essential oils, it goes in much faster and much more potently. So there's a million and one uses for essential oils. You've used lavender and peppermint to soothe your headaches, to soothe body aches. The blends I've given you, I would make them and keep them just on hand. You might or might not need them, or just make the one that you think you're going to need the most. And the same way that you felt the effect with simple lavender and peppermint, you're going to feel the effects with these blends, whether it's cravings, whether it's to soothe a hot flash when it happens, or it's something that you want to take, like the energy blend. That's something that you can apply every single morning, right? To help boost your energy. And the best way to apply them is just on your pressure points. So like here, on your wrists, on the bottoms of your feet. And again, because they're not toxic, you can keep reapplying as much as you want. There's no danger. But do follow the instructions for how to create the blends. As a general rule for essential oils, never apply an essential oil directly on your skin because they are very potent. You always have to mix them with what is called a carrier oil. So, and have fun with it, right? Like an experiment. And there's so many resources online if you want to look up which essential oils are good for your skin. I've given you a couple of those in the skin section. And then if you have other issues that are not in your guide, like if you have digestive issues, if you have sinus issues, if you have period cramps, if you have like everything, there's like an essential oil for everything. I personally love a brand called doTERRA. If you can't get it. Well, you can try and ship it here, but I've tried. They're going to make you pay a lot of money for customs. So don't do that. If you have somebody coming who can bring it for you, if you travel, you can carry it for yourself. I love them because they have the straight, like pure oils, lavender, peppermint, geranium, orange, lemon, you know, all of that. But then they've also created some blends that I love using and I use with my family all the time. The one we use all the time is there's one that's called Zengest, which is basically to ease indigestion. So like whenever my son on the weekend, he goes and has a burger or junk with his friends, always comes home with a stomach ache, as expected. So it works he's 15, he's a teenager and he's a boy. He really couldn't care less about natural stuff. But when he has a stomach ache, he has it next to his bed. He knows it, where he's like, Mom, just give me this Zengest, you know, and it comes in like a roller bottle. He rolls it all over his stomach. He feels better. He goes to sleep. I also use, they have like the ready-made lavender already mixed in, so that, you know, just instead of, you know, having to dab it and mix it yourself, it's pre-mixed. Here in Cairo, you have Arij Aromatherapy. They have beautiful oils and they also have some blends pre-mixed, as does Black Lotus. So I don't know that they have the blends like for energy or for hot flashes, things like that. You have to kind of make those yourself. You can find the roller bottles on Amazon. If you don't find the roller bottles, you can just get any small glass jar, fill it with a little bit of the carrier oil, and then add the number of drops that you need of each oil, and then just sort of give it a shake every single time you're going to use it. And that's it. You keep it on hand, you keep it next to you, you can keep applying it as much as you want. Essential oils are very, very safe, and use them the right way, as long as you don't apply them on your skin and don't ingest them. So here's another really important thing about essential oils. Not all essential oils are created equal. If you can ingest, like, you know, take a drop of essential oil with some water or something, but only if that essential oil is labeled as therapeutic. I don't know that Black Lotus and Arij Aromatherapy are labeled as therapeutic to the extent that you can ingest them, you can put them in your body. doTERRA is, so doTERRA, I put a few drops of like lemon. Sometimes I'm too lazy in the morning to make lemon water. I put a drop or two of the lemon in the water. All of theirs are therapeutic grade, safe to ingest. But this is another important thing to keep in mind about essential oils. Do not ingest them if they're not therapeutic, and do not, any of them, even the incredibly therapeutic grade ones like doTERRA, add them or apply them to your skin without a carrier oil. That's all. Does anybody have any questions for me? Randa, go ahead.
Hi, Dana. I have like a list today.
Okay, go for it.
So first of all, regarding the essential oils, you were just saying, are you going to send us the name of the brand, the doTERRA, or what you were just saying about it?
That should be in your guide. It should be in your guide. I've linked that. If it's not, let me know. But I think I've linked it in there with the other brands that are available locally.
Okay. And regarding the natural skin routine, what if we have like a combination of skin types? So if I have oily and at the same time mature skin, so what do I do in this case?
Castor oil also. Castor oil will be the same. Yeah, I would use castor oil. Let me just check the document if I gave you a specific oil to mix with.
Yes. Yes. So with the oily, you wrote with it, I think grapeseed, and with the mature skin, rosehip or argan.
Rosehip. Yep. You can add those in, but like when I first started this before I used like living libations or anything, I did this oil cleansing method and I was 40. So I considered my skin mature, like 40, that's it, like you're older. I only use castor oil. I didn't use a mix at all. And I had the acne, I had like horrible acne plus older skin. I just used plain castor oil to simplify my life. So you can just do that.
Okay, and so we just use it and know that that's the cleanse and the moisturizer and everything, because you know we have like a list of stuff. Facial wash, toner, and moisturizer.
It simplifies everything. You literally that's all you do, right? It's you know, you get your washcloth, you wet it,
Mhm.
You apply the oil, massage it in, and then use the washcloth to wash it off, and that's it. It's like a
Okay.
three-in-one step, three-in-one process.
Okay. And I'm going to send you a picture of a product that I think is natural.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about it or not. It's called Tina Harper, but
Yeah.
I'll send you
Yeah.
the link anyway.
Some of her products are spot on natural, some are not. It depends. So send me the one that you have, and I can tell you.
Okay. And the rest, I couldn't find any ingredients on the bottle because I unfortunately threw the packaging away. So
Okay.
but I'm sure it's like, I'll throw it away as well soon.
If anything, and this goes for all of you, if you don't have the packaging, look it up online. Like any product you've got, look up the company or the brand online, find your product, click on the product, scroll down, you'll see ingredients. You can, if you're and you want to ask me because you're not sure, then screenshot the ingredients and send me that. Like every single product that any of you are using, those products are online somewhere.
Okay. Okay. And yesterday you were talking about the ashwagandha. If I'm, for example, I'm not using it at all, should I start introducing it? I know you said we can't be deficient in it, but
Yeah.
will it add?
If you feel like, you know what, I could take my health to another level. Like if you feel like you're eating everything well and you've started with the supplements first, right? So you always food, supplements, then adaptogens. So we've got the food part, add in the supplements next. If there's still something you feel like, you know what, it's something is not quite getting to where I need it to be, like I still have this nagging symptom, then add in the super foods like the spirulina, maca, and the adaptogens after that.
Okay.
You could, I always recommend, like, always do the supplements. If you want to go ahead and maybe like, if you want to speed it up for yourself, then yeah, you can. Like, it's never going to harm you. I just don't want you to feel like pressure, like if you don't have access to it, right? Like it's hard to get, or you can't find the right one. I don't want you to feel like you're missing something if you don't have it. You're not.
Okay. So from after Sunday, when we finish the second 9 days, on Tuesday, of course we're continuing clean eating, but should we introduce the foods that we want or not? What should we do? How should we move?
What are the foods that you want? So if you're talking about introducing any of the inflammatory foods, so if you're talking about wheat, milk, cheese, you know, any of that. Sorry?
Coffee. It's just coffee.
I want you all to complete 28 days without coffee and then introduce coffee. All right.
Okay.
So complete, that's, and today is like what, day 19? So like you have 10 days,
yeah.
Like you're almost there. 28 days to make sure it's out of your system. Okay. So that it really, really gives you the proper reading. Let's put it that way, the proper reading. So 28 days, if you introduce coffee, you have to remember a couple of things. If you drink your coffee with milk, no more milk. You're going to maybe replace that with almond milk, oat milk, whatever it is. If you have your coffee with sugar, you're going to replace that with honey. And then because you have it with almond or oat milk, those are a kind of fat. So then you want to keep it till later, like 11 or 12 in the morning, like not first thing. In all cases, you're not going to have coffee on an empty stomach ever again, okay? Because that really sets your digestive system up. It weakens your digestive system first thing in the morning, spikes up your cortisol levels first thing in the morning. So in all cases, regardless of how you drink your coffee, it's not going to be on an empty stomach. If you take a kind of milk in it, that's fat, so you want to push it to like 12. If you take it black, let's say, or some of you drink Turkish coffee, after your morning routine, I would say around 10, not before 10, because you want to wait for that cortisol spike to come down. Then you can have a cup of coffee around 10, and only 1 cup of coffee a day. Those of you who used to drink several, once a day is more than enough, and you might find that it's even too much for you, right? So you want to really don't introduce anything else different on that day, so you can be clear if there's any symptoms that come up. So also introduce, you know, if you haven't had animal protein, you decide to have animal protein on that day, or if you decide to try food on that day, like, no, coffee is the thing you're introducing that day, and you want to be really, really connected anytime you introduce one of the foods, really connect it to your body, really listen to how your body is reacting to it, and be very honest as to how your body reacts. You might find zero reaction, you're good to go. You can continue to have a cup of coffee every day. It doesn't give you night sweats down the line, right? So sometimes there might not be an immediate reaction. Sometimes it's cumulative. So you might be able to have the coffee with no immediate effects, like it doesn't make you jittery, it doesn't give you palpitations, it doesn't make you irritable, it doesn't give you diarrhea. You feel really good. But then when it's time for your cycle, maybe you've eliminated your night sweats, maybe you've eliminated hot flashes, maybe your period has become nice and easy and light and pain-free, but then all of a sudden all of those symptoms start to creep back gradually. I mean, this might take you a month or two. Then you have to start paying attention that, right, maybe in the immediate, my coffee is not doing anything to me, but cumulatively it's effect. And because we're talking about cycles with your period, you wouldn't be able to see the effect until you actually have your period, which is fine. Like if you feel fine and you want to have it for a month, that's fine, but pay attention and keep track of the daily symptoms in case there's a connection. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. And definitely don't be having coffee after 12 p.m. because for some people that can interfere with your sleep. For some people, okay, you have a coffee at 12 or 1 p.m. and that caffeine can stay in your body, and you can end up not having deep sleep that night.
Okay. Okay, and one last thing, if I want to start changing the timings of my meals, so for example, my morning routine to start around 9 instead of 6, 7 a.m. Okay. And but I finish my last meal around 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay,
that's fine, right?
And you sleep?
I don't have to.
And you sleep at what time?
Between 10:30, 11:30.
Okay, well, I would make sure then you have your last meal by 7. Like, don't push it to 8. It's like you want a full 3 hours, hours before you sleep. What are you doing in the morning when you wake up until 9 that you would push?
I can either have water, plain water, or sometimes I take another nap after waking up at 6 a.m. I take a nap for an hour and then wake up again. So so that's why the lemon water gets pushed to 9 a.m.
Okay. Can you do lemon water if you're going to take a nap? Can you do lemon water and celery before your nap? At least.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can do that. I mean, I don't see that as being a problem. Like sometimes I do that because I wake up, it takes me like an hour and a half to make everybody's smoothies. Then I do my own workout and I walk, whatever. So sometimes many days actually, I'll have like the lemon water, maybe celery juice, and just forget about it. And then sometimes I don't get around to it, but I just want to know what you're doing. Like if for those of you who want to lose weight, I always recommend have nothing before your workout. Like start the routine. If you're a morning person, if you do your workouts in the morning, do the workout in the morning, anytime between 7 and 8, between 6 and 8, and then start your morning routine. But if you're not working out in the morning, then I always say, at least right when you wake up, have your lemon water at the minimum.
Okay, so it's important when I wake up to start having it, not to push it.
Yeah, at least the lemon water. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maha, go ahead.
Hello, Dana.
Hi.
I have a question here. You have been doing this for 10 years. Yes. Cellulite, does it go away when you lose weight?
Say that again. Yeah, I have been doing it for 10 years. What's your question? I can't hear you.
If you had cellulite, did you have it?
Oh, I have it. Of course I have it.
Oh,
very few women are very fortunate to not have it. Yes, I have it. Still have it. So with cellulite, it's gotten a lot less, but it's not just going to go away. Okay, well, let me think back because there's been cycles. The one time recently that it diminished with me doing minimal workout was when I did the 28-day juice cleanse. That was a surprise for me. Because there's just certain bits of me I've just accepted, right? And I know that I'm somebody who I will work out really well and really consistently, and then it'll kind of drop. I'll take maybe 2 weeks off and then I get back on it again. So when I'm consistent with my workouts, yes, it doesn't ever disappear, but it doesn't get worse. So I've kind of accepted where I am in terms of that, and it's fine with me. I have no issues with it. And it was very interesting that the month I did the 28-day juice cleanse, it just, there's like sometimes like little bumps on your like outer thighs, like that smoothed out when I did the juice cleanse. And during the juice cleanse, I wasn't working out as intensely as I usually do. I was mostly walking for that whole month, just walking. I did an hour in the morning, maybe an hour and a half hour in the evening. I was just walking a lot during the juice cleanse, and it was, and I walk, it wasn't new. The walking wasn't new. I regularly walk, but it was interesting to see how that was the only time I saw a shift in cellulite was then. Any other time, it's just like it responds to workouts, but it never ever disappears. And I don't know that it can ever disappear. I think it's just something we can minimize the appearance of, and it might shrink a little bit, but I don't think you can ever get rid of it 100%. I don't know if that helps you, but that's my experience.
Yes. I'll begin accepting it. Yeah, I will accept it.
Yeah. Anybody else? Hang on, there's a couple of questions here. Angie, why do essential oils sometimes sting on the face, even if they are mixed with carrier oil? So it depends. Like if it's sometimes the actual, like if it's peppermint, right, it might sting, like the actual type might sting. Other times it might be you don't have enough carrier oil. It could also be that your skin is sensitive to that particular oil. So what I would do then in that case is first increase the carrier oil and see if it does that. If it's peppermint or one of these ones that are like naturally stinging, like you wouldn't want to get it in your eyes, then that's your explanation for it. But increase the carrier oil. You would worry about an essential oil, not just if it stings, but if you get like a redness or a rash or something. And then that might be, I haven't seen that happen with like doTERRA and other brands, but sometimes that might be the quality of the oil itself. But you have to see. And then sometimes, but this is the rarest one, is you might actually have a sensitivity to that particular plant or that type of oil. So if that's something you're worried about, you can always test it. I mean, peppermint and lavender are the ones that are most like common. They're like the most safest, but you can always test it on a small patch of your hand or like right here before you put it on your face to make sure. Can you please repeat the name of the brand Randa mentioned? Randa, you mentioned is Harper. Tata Harper, right? I think that's what if that's what you're talking about. The
Yes.
one that check. Yeah.
Yes, Tara Harper.
Okay, can you write it down in the chat for her, please? Mona, hi Dana, what do you think of Arabic gum for bloating? Okay, which Arabic gum are you talking about? The one that you boil or like the gum that you chew?
Hi Dana, it's no, it's not what you chew. It's sort of like it's not really powder, it's like crumbled, and you dissolve it in water and drink it.
I don't think I know anything about that. Can you send me? It's not in Arabic. What's it called in Arabic?
Samara.
Samara.
No, well, I was thinking samara. I'm like gum, like chewing gum, but no, I think this is something different.
You buy it from Attar.
Okay.
Let me check for the maybe the scientific name is what you need.
Yeah, give me that, or just even I'll just look it up, Arabic gum and Arabic gum for bloating. I'm sure something will pop up. Okay, let me check on that. Shaima, is it okay to have dates after the lemon water and celery because I work out in the morning to keep the, yes, you can have the lemon water, celery, and if you're on your way to the workout, just as long as you keep 30 minutes between the celery, like keep 30 minutes between the celery and whatever you're gonna have. So if you have your lemon water, celery, and you're on your way to the gym, then you can have a few dates for energy. Yes, you can definitely do that, and then have the smoothie when you come back. Leban dakar, yes, that's what I thought it was. Isn't leban dakar you boil it?
No, it isn't.
Oh,
no.
I thought you boil it and then drink the water. Water, I don't know. Maybe that's
like stones. Like
yeah, they're like stones.
Chew.
For like chest infections and stuff. You don't. That's not one of the things that's done with it. Boil?
It looks like
You
Leban
soak it.
dakar, but
You
it
soak
is
Yes.
it's more amber in color.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you soak it, right? You soak it and then drink the water, right, Inji? Okay. Yeah, I remember this because I was like right when I got married 27 years ago. I was 22. My husband got like a cough and a cold, and so my mother-in-law was like, here, and she gave me this, the Leban dakar, and she thought, she was like, soak it and give it to him. So I was like, okay. So I soaked it overnight, and I'd never used it before in my life. I have no idea what it is. And she just told me, here, take it, soak it, and give it to him. That was the instruction. So I soaked it overnight. I couldn't remember if I soaked it or I boiled it. There was water involved. And so the next morning I woke up, I'm like, oh, okay. The water had turned like all murky color, creamy color. Okay, that. I'm like, okay. I took out the Leban dakar and I threw away the water. Because I didn't know which one was the therapeutic one.
No.
Threw away the water, and I was like, I gave my husband the stones. He's like, what is? I'm like, I don't know. Your mom said to take these. So, yeah, I remember that there was water involved. Okay. Well, from as much as I know with that, that is beneficial. So I don't see why it also wouldn't
No,
be
but
beneficial on other levels.
that's not it. No,
Oh,
that's
it's
not
not
it,
it.
Dana.
Oh, it's not it. Oh, okay. Okay.
No, no. It looks like it's like stones, but they are amber in color. Leban
Okay.
dakar is more whitish.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That one, yeah. It's even sold on Blessed Journey Herbals, the one you
Okay.
have shared with me.
Oh, okay.
It
Then
is-
let me look it up. Or I can even ask him. I know him. I can ask him like, what's the best way? What's it used for? Like, yeah. Okay. Perfect. I can
Yeah.
do that. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Some more questions here. Alia, I like Leban dakar. I don't boil it. I just put it in water and drink it after a few hours. Right. Like as you're supposed to, drink the water. Don't throw it out. Shaiba, what about gluten-free pasta and gluten-free bread? Are they okay to eat? All right. So here's the thing with all the gluten-free things you're going to find on the market, right? Basically, the food industry was like, okay, people are not wanting gluten anymore. People are afraid of gluten anymore. So people are not going to be buying bread and cookies and cakes and things anymore. So what can we do? Let's give them the gluten-free option, which is good and bad. The reason why like they're not your new best friend, gluten-free products, is because they're still a processed product, right? They're still a dry, dead, and dumb product, right? So they're not optimal. They're not going to heal you. You're not going to eat gluten-free bread and think, oh my God, this is like really, really good for my body. It's not. And then it's one of those foods, like it's not going to make you worse, but it's not going to heal you, which means it's not something you eat every single day. So don't think like you can just replace your daily bread or replace your regular pasta meal that you have several times a week with gluten-free, or replace a dessert or a daily cookie with a gluten-free version. No, they are still foods that you're going to have every once in a while. They're not staples. The other thing that you have to be careful with is when the product may be gluten-free, but that doesn't mean that it just means that we remove the gluten. That's it. It doesn't mean that the replacements are any good for you. And sometimes the replacements are even worse for you. They've had to replace the way that the gluten works is it's, when you look at bread and when you tear bread apart, it's kind of like gooey and stretchy. Like it's like glue. That's what gluten is. So when they take it out, the most products end up being more crumbly and more hard. So they've had to create solutions for that so that the gluten-free product can resemble an original product as much as possible. So in many cases, again, look at the list of ingredients, you're going to find a lot of ingredients that you wouldn't necessarily have at home. And this is what you need to pay attention in general to ingredients, that when you're buying anything that's packaged, if it's not an ingredient that you have in your pantry at home, in your cupboards, in your kitchen, in your refrigerator, don't buy the product, because it's not made from things that are naturally and naturally that your body is going to recognize. So I have seen gluten-free products that are made extremely well, meaning made with almond flour, coconut flour, chickpea flour, lentil flour, brown rice flour, and water. That's it. I've seen pasta that's made with just 2 ingredients. And if you want to have a gluten-free pasta, that would be the one to have. It's made with lentil flour and water and nothing else, or made with brown rice flour and water, nothing else. I've also seen ones that claim to be healthy. I think there's an Egyptian brand and it's supposed to be like oat pasta, but when you actually look at the ingredients, it still has wheat flour in there, but maybe it's like semolina, or there's a couple of other names for flour that you might not recognize. So be very, very vigilant with the ingredients. And again, when you see like 15 ingredients that you can't pronounce or you don't have in your kitchen at home, that's a red flag for you to put this product aside. So always be on the lookout for the how many ingredients are in them. Make sure there's no added sugars, because again, they've had to make it palatable. So they've added sugar and they've added different types of glucose and things like that. So you want it to be as basic as possible, either almond or coconut or brown rice or lentil flour. The sweeteners should be raw honey, maybe maple syrup, and that's it. Oat flour is another one that you can find things made with. So very simple ingredients, not a million things, chemicals, a lot of things, especially with breads. Maybe not so much here, but if you live abroad and if you're trying to find a gluten-free bread anywhere abroad, it's like crazy number of chemicals in that gluten-free bread. And you think you're doing yourself a favor, but actually you're not. So limit. It's not a daily thing, even if it's even if the one made with just 2 ingredients, it's not a daily thing, especially if you've tried lentils in their original form, if you've tried rice in its original form and it doesn't work for you, then this is just a different form of that, right? It's lentil flour, it's brown rice flour. It's the same thing. If it doesn't work for you in its original form, it's really not going to serve you, taking the form of a gluten-free pasta either. All right. What's the best flour that doesn't cause inflammation? Yeah, so that would be, well, I can't, there's no like one blanket statement here. Almond flour might not cause me inflammation, but it's a nut, so it might cause you inflammation. Oat flour might not cause you inflammation, it might cause me inflammation. So this one is also, because we are working with foods that might be, and the only one that I think is the least inflammatory for the majority of people is coconut flour. That seems to be the one that causes the least reactions in the most amount of people. Everything else falls under the nut or the grain category. So it always carries the potential for inflammation. Ali, I want to ask about psyllium seeds. So these are really, if you have constipation, but I would always go for, to solve constipation, I would go for magnesium oil. I would go for vitamin C. Psyllium seeds, you're also going to find them in some gluten-free products also. Again, they're not a necessity. They're not something essential. I would only go to them if you're baking something, then it requires that as an ingredient. That's the only time I would buy psyllium seeds. Oh, a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see what happened here. Oh, thank you for that, Mona. Malak, can we have shredded coconut in smoothies? It's a fat, it's a good fat. So see how your body reacts to that if you're having it first thing in the morning, but yes. No, so there is no bread alternative. Here's the thing about bread, right? It's not essential. Like bread is not an essential food. Like it's not like calcium, right? So calcium is essential. If we are going to remove dairy and we're not getting dairy from milk and cheese and yogurt, we have to find an alternative because we need calcium. And anyway, the alternative is found in, original sources of calcium. Like where do cows get their calcium? They get it from grass and greens. That's the original source of calcium. So we have to find a replacement for dairy because of the calcium, not because of anything else. And only because we've been programmed that the only source of calcium is dairy. It's not. With bread, there's nothing in this loaf of bread that your body has to have. There's nothing that when we remove bread, we have to think, oh, well, there's going to be a deficiency of some kind. We need to replace it. Zero deficiency if you remove bread. So there is no direct replacement for bread or anything we need to bring in instead of bread because we're not losing anything by removing bread. The only reason you would want to have a replacement for bread is your emotional attachment to bread. There's no physical need for the ingredients in bread whatsoever. So like I said, It would be a gluten-free alternative. It would not be something you would have on a daily basis. It's still a dry, dead, processed food, even if it's gluten-free. Malak, I love rice, grains. Malak, think grains do not equal healthy thyroid, right? Grains contain the phytic acid like rice. It's going to interfere with the way your body absorbs nutrients from other food, and it's going to weaken the thyroid. Hamza, eating a lot of dates can spike sugar. No, nothing from the fruit category. Dates, bananas, mangoes, grapes, watermelon. I think those are the main ones. Nothing in fruits, nothing. No, not potatoes, not whatever fruits and vegetables you've been told spike sugar. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is a complete myth. It's actually completely, even they've proven it's unscientific. It does not spike blood sugar. Nobody who has ever developed insulin resistance or diabetes developed it because they were overdosing on dates or grapes or watermelons. What spikes blood sugar is the processed foods that turn into the toxic sugar in your body that then the insulin cannot drive into your cells. So it drives insulin up. That's what happens to try to bring the sugar into your cells, and the sugar keeps saying no. So have as much dates as you want, have as many fruits as you want, have as many grapes as you want, watermelons, bananas, mangoes, you name it. This is a myth. It's created this ridiculous fruit fear in the world while everybody's eating bread and rice and pizza and cookies without thinking twice. But I tell you, eat dates, and all of a sudden it's like, is this okay to do? So think about it. Inji, are seeds better than nuts? Yes, they're easier in the digestion than nuts for sure. So flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, yes. I'll miss you next week. I'm gonna miss you guys too. You don't have to miss me, guys, right? Sign up for the November round and you'll continue to get the support. You'll continue to stay. I mean, this is really about the vibe, right? The energy, right? It's being in the energy and being in community, which is so vital to your success. It is about being in a space where you're heard, where you're understood, where you're supported, where there's accountability. As long as you feel like this is something that's going to continue to keep your momentum going, right? Because you're in the middle, like your momentum is right there right now. Come back next month and keep yourself in this vibe and in this support. And like I told you yesterday, when you join, let me know. Don't use the link because the price has gone up a bit. You get to keep the price that you entered at. So message me or email me, then I can send you a separate individual invoice using the old price that you paid last month. Let me check here. Another question. Oh, a whole bunch of questions. Delia, I'm 41 and have combination blemishes skin type. What is the combo? Okay, I would use just castor oil. It sounds like my skin 10 years ago, Delia. Castor oil, if you're not going to go ahead and just purchase the ready-made oils, castor oil and stick with it, and that's it. Randa, I'm scared to ask you, but I will. I know you talked about protein powder before and I understand, but anything different regarding vegan protein powder? It's made of pea protein. So here's the thing. If we're talking about the traditional protein powders, first of all, I want you to ask yourself, regardless, I want you to ask yourself, why do you want protein powder? I mean, somebody told you somewhere along your life that here, protein powder is good for you. I want you to think about why you want protein powder, away from anybody's advice. Why do you think you want it? Why do you think you need it? That's one thing. I want you to just go and think about that on your own. Second, if we're looking at protein powders, the traditional ones that have like all like whey protein and all of this, no, definitely no. Whey is the originally it's a source of dairy. It's like a protein that comes from dairy, and it's a protein that our body doesn't recognize. So our body is not going to be able to break it down to absorb it and to make use of it. So then what's the point? The body's just going to tag it as a toxin. So then of course they came up, with, the increase of vegans in the world. They needed to, it's another market, right? It's the same way like the food industry hopped on board the gluten-free wagon and start labeling everything gluten-free. I mean, some things that are labeled gluten-free, like sugar. Like, well, sugar never had gluten in it to start with, but it's just to grab your attention. So then the same way that then, you know, the athletes and the, you know, carnivores were consuming all these protein powders, they needed to also provide for the vegans who weren't going to have these. So they created vegan protein powders. And then of course, marketed it to the vegans that you're not eating animal protein and your body's deficient. You're not getting all the proper vitamins and things you need that you're getting from animals. You need to get it from somewhere else. So they created vegan protein powders. All right. They're a little bit better. I mean, obviously pure pea protein is always going to be, because it comes from peas, your body's always going to recognize that way better than it's going to recognize whey protein. But are you going to be deficient? It's like the spirulina and the ashwagandha. If you don't take spirulina or ashwagandha, are you going to be deficient? No. If you don't take pea protein, are you going to be deficient? No. So is it better than whey protein? Yes. Is it still processed? Yes. Why do we need something processed? So ask yourself that. Delia, just castor oil. I just got argan oil. Do I mix with castor? I just did with all of the acne and everything that I had, and I just wanted something simple. You can just do that. You can just do castor oil and not do anything else. Hang on, I think I see something else here. Do we need B12 supplements? If yes, so I put that in the supplement section, Malak. I put B12. Even if you eat animal protein, you still need B12 because, like I said earlier, the type of soil that we have these days is deficient, which means the plants are deficient, which means the food that the animals eat, like if we go with the traditional theory that B12 comes from animal products, our animals are deficient in B12. So even if you're choosing to keep animal protein, you still need B12 because the animal you're eating doesn't have enough B12 in it. So, and I've linked the brands in there also, Malak. Please bring back living libations. For those of you who don't know, I used to, this was like 4 years ago, you could buy Living Libations, my skin product company, through me, but then you know how complicated things are in this country to bring products in that are, you know, just bring products in, period. It became too much of a headache, so I had to stop that. But who knows, maybe it'll happen again in the future. Inji, oats for breakfast can be occasionally, but not the staple in our food. I mean, occasionally, as in once a month, Inji, right? That's how, when I say occasionally, that's what I mean. It's a grain and you're probably going to eat it with almond milk or coconut milk. So that's a fat. So you've got a combination of grains and fats first thing in the morning, which that's the combination that your liver hates the most, right? But here's the thing, you could have it later on in the day. So let's say, and again, not all the time, but if you were to have it, it would be better for your liver. Let's say you want to have it on the weekend and you wake up really late, and let's say you miss your whole morning routine, right? It happens. So it's like 12 o'clock, maybe you slept in, it's 1 o'clock and you want to have oats then. Definitely that would be a better time to have it than first thing in the morning. And it will be something like you're eating it because you just feel like having it. It's something you love. And it's just like maybe it's a comfort food for you, but remind yourself it's those foods that don't do anything. It's not healing. All right. Anybody else with questions? Malak, how do you control your coffee craving? As with any craving, it's taken time, and I guess it's part train myself, part mindset. I don't want to be addicted to anything. So not just coffee. I don't want to be addicted to anything. I don't want to have anything that has power over me or anything that I'm like powerless in front of. So I regularly take breaks from coffee. I don't know if I told you guys, obviously when I did the 28-day juice cleanse back in May, that was no coffee for 28 days. And then in September or in June, I took another 10 days. September, I took another week off. October, this month, I took another, like I think 5 or 6 days off. And then when you do that, it's really powerful because it reminds you of your power. And then when I go back to it, it's never because I can't function without it. Never. It's never because I need it to wake up or I need it to work out, which is why I used to need it before. Or I just need it, to, like, it's the only thing I look forward to in the morning. It's nothing like that. When I have my coffee now, it's like after I've worked out, after I've worked, like I do a few hours of work in the morning. Also, like I don't need it for anything. It's almost the way I have it now. It's almost like I've done a whole bunch of things already, 3 or 4 hours this morning. I've done like the really important things where I'm really focused, writing my posts for the next day, writing my emails for the next day, do my workout, shower. And it's like, it's like I use it kind of as a reward, but it's not like something like I have to have. It's like when I'm winding down a little bit, it's like breaks up my morning a bit. And I never drink the whole thing ever anymore, ever. I take like, if a mug is like filled like this, I have like this much, there's always this much left. So I don't know. The only answer I have for that is I don't want to be dependent on anything. And that just applies to coffee as well. Malak, I'm fine without it, but I just miss it and I'm scared of getting hooked again. It is highly addictive, just like sugar is, just like, desserts are. So you need to know that. So but just don't be scared of it. Like you're the one in control, not the coffee. I think that's what's scaring you most, that it's not about the coffee. It's about you not being in control of something. It's about you letting an addiction, and this could be for others, it could be something else completely different. And addictions can be scary that way because there's the physiological aspect that we don't control, right? That's how addictions happen. We don't control that chemical reaction that happens when we eat sugar. It's instant and it wants you to go and have more sugar. We don't control the same thing that with caffeine, what happens with caffeine and the domino effect in our body that makes you want to go have more. But you are in control of how many times you have it, right? So this is also a process that takes time. So with sugar and caffeine, it's all about mindset. So even though you know that they're going to try and take over your body, soon as you let them, they're going to work to take over your body. That's just how they work. That's how they're kind of drugs. That's how drugs work. What you know though is that in those specific cases, the addiction will only take hold again if you allow it to. So it's going to try, but it's only going to take hold when you start to feel like, when you start to wake up the next day and you feel like I can't go through my day without it. That's when you know the addiction is taking over. It's trying to take over. That's when you have to pull it back in, like rein it back in, and that's when you put the brakes. That's all I can say, really. It's not like I don't have like a magic like answer to this. It takes brain work. It takes brain work and listening to your body and understanding your limit. Like I know what will happen if I let myself, for example, if I go and have another cup of coffee, I know that will trigger me it'll trigger like me to want it in the middle of the day and then want it later on in the day. And then I'll wake up the next day and I'll want that feeling again. So this is where you have to work on that. If you feel those feelings coming up again, this is where you come back to your baseline. You don't want to be addicted to anything. You don't want to be addicted to a substance that is going to, how do I put this? You really, at some point, you're going to have to just decide between you and yourself, the same way that drug addicts just have to make a decision, right? Alcoholics have to make a decision, like who's in charge here, me or the coffee? Do a thought model on this. That would be a great thought model. Same with tea, any caffeine, right? This is caffeine. So tea, coffee, matcha is a kind of caffeine. Green tea is a type of caffeine. Sugar, so it's not just these drinks, sugar in the form of bread, pasta, cakes, desserts. All of these have the potential for quickly spiraling. They're that addictive, highly, highly, highly addictive. Anybody else? Okay, ladies, I will see you all in 1 week and our final celebratory, congratulatory video that we're going to do next Thursday. From now until then, keep all of these questions coming in the group. Get as clear as you can on anything that's still not clear for you. I'll be there to answer all of your questions. Message me to sign up for the next round because you're meeting a different version of yourself right now. All of you are. The person you are today is not the person you were 3 weeks ago. And meeting that new version of yourself requires a higher level of awareness, a different level of awareness, a different level of consciousness around, you know, how you're thinking about yourself, how you're thinking about food, how you're going to keep going with this new way of living. So message me, get yourself signed up for next month to keep your momentum going. Make sure that you post all of your questions for me next week, and I will see you all here again, same time, same place on Thursday. All right, have a great weekend, ladies. Bye.
Thank you, Dana. Bye.